What's up guys, Infernic here. Now this top 10 may upset the majority of you, so to put you in a forgiving mood, here's a quick intro of Parker to get you in a forgiving mood. Isn't he cute? Doesn't this adorable face make you want to forgive people? I thought so. Thank you for the assistance, Parker. If you want them to be in more videos, just let me know. I've been wanting to make this top 10 for quite a while, but I've never gotten around to it. I'm going to be going over my top 10 strongest Pokemon. However, there are going to be a couple catches. Those catches are I'm not going to be including legendaries, mythicals, megas, or ultra beasts, since they're meant to be extremely powerful. Those are going to be in separate videos. I'm not sure when I'm going to be uploading them, but keep in mind they'll be in separate videos. Also, I'm going to be talking about their competitive nature. I'm not going to be going over the strongest Pokemon in a playthrough. Some of them may be good in a playthrough, but the majority of the time I'm going to be talking about competitive, since I know a lot about competitive. Be sure to let me know down in the comment section if you enjoyed this video, or give it a thumbs up, that would be even better. And if you think I missed out on a Pokemon, be sure to let me know down in the comment section below as well. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. At number 10, we have a Lowland Marowak. Funny enough, a Lowland Marowak is actually my favourite Alolan form, since I'm not actually too fond of the others. A Lowland Muck would probably be my second favourite, but it's still not as powerful as a Lowland Marowak. If any of you have played Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon and have faced this Alolan and Marowak, you will know how much of a pain in the ass it is when you have to go against a totem Alolan Marowak. Literally, that thing is holding a thick club, which doubles its attack stat, and then giving it Flame Wheel, it's got Hex, it's got some other moves, I can't remember them all, but I know with just the thick club and the Flame Wheel alone, that can really put a hole in your team. When it comes to Lowland Marowak stats, they're pretty decent. We've got 110 defense and 80 attack and special defense. That's pretty good, considering that it's supposed to be an all-out attacker. But if you give it the thick club that I mentioned, it will then double its attack stat to 80, and it will go up to 160. That is pretty ridiculous if you ask me. If you do face a Lowland Marowak in competitive, it's pretty predictable. It's not exactly diverse. It's mainly there to be an all-out attacker. If you do want to make a competitive Lowland Marowak, I wouldn't advise it, but if you do, give it its hidden ability a Rock Head. So that way, any moves that usually do recoil don't do a thing. And it will have to be EV trained in attack, in speed, and maybe a little bit in defense. And it's also got to have the adamant nature, obviously, and holding the thick club. And it shall have the moves Flare Blitz, let's see, Shadow Bone, Sword Stance, and Earthquake. That is a pretty diverse moveset, and I don't own, like I said, Lowland Marowak is very predictable. That's why it's this low on the list. At number 9, we have Scolipede. Now, when it comes to Scolipede, I've never really had much of an attachment to it. I do really like its design, but it's not that good when it comes to a black and white playthrough. But if you use one in competitive, you are going to, you'll be able to predict what it's going to do. But still, it is a very powerful asset to your team. This thing is really speedy and has a monstrous attack stat. With a base stat of speed, which is 112, and a base stat of 100 attack power, you are going to get wrecked if you are not careful. If you want to go with a competitive Scolipede, I would say that you would need its hidden ability Speed Boost, which, if you didn't already know, increases its speed stat every turn. And then if you want to EV train it, you have to max it out with attack and speed, and maybe a little bit in defense. And also have the Wartarian Z. And then give it the move Swords Dance, Mega Horn, Aqua Tail, and Earthquake. This Scolipede will wreck you in no time flat, because this thing has so much speed, it will kill you before you can even blink. At number 8, we have Infernape. I know, shock Korra, I put Infernape on my list. Back off, haters. If I want to put Infernape on this list, I will put Infernape on this list. Not only is Infernape useful in any playthrough that it's available in, it is an OP Pokemon. If you talk to a person and say, is Infernape an OP Pokemon, the majority of people would say yes. Unless, of course, you're Big Pink. With a speed stat of 108 and 104 attack and special attack, this thing will be extremely diverse. You will never be able to tell if this thing is going to be a physical or a special attacker. And not only that, it has a wide move pool. Let me read off some of its best attacks. We've got Close Combat, Flare Blitz, Mach Punch, Acrobatics, Calm Mind, Blaze Kick, Fire Punch, Power Up Punch, Thunder Punch, Blast Burn, Dual Chop, Focus Blast, Gunk Shot, Iron Tail. Oh, there's way more. We've got Flamethrower, we've got Bulk Up, Sunny Day, Hyper Beam, Solar Beam, Earthquake, Brick Break, Fire Blast, Aerial Ace, Flame Charge, Low Sweep, Overheat, Shadow Claw, Acrobatics, Giga Impact, Stone Edge, Swords Dance, Bulldoze, Rock Slide, Poison Jab. The list just goes on. Infernape can be used in many different ways, but my personal favourite is to have its hidden ability with Iron Fist, which powers up all punching attacks, and then max out its attack, speed, and maybe either of its defences, or maybe even its HP. And then give it the Focus Sash, so that way it will live on 1 health. And that way, it will give you a chance to use Swords Dance to up its already OP attack power. Also, you might want to give it the Adamant or Jolly Nature. You can have either. And also give it Swords Dance, Fire Punch, Mach Punch, and Thunder Punch. This will wreck all of the Pokemon on the field. I have this Pokemon on my Pokemon Ultra Moon or Ultra Sun, and it is literally the saviour of my team. At number 7, we have Sylveon. If you are a veteran of the Pokemon competitive nature, you will know how ridiculous it is to take down a Sylveon. To be honest, I never found fairy types that powerful. But one of those exceptions is actually Sylveon. This thing may not look it, but it will wreck you if you actually prepare it right. With 110 special attack, 130 special defense, and a 95 HP, this thing will not go down without a fight. And not only that, it's really unpredictable. You can't really predict how this is actually going to turn out. The majority of people would either go with Pixelate or Cute Charm for its ability. The majority usually go for Pixelate, but Cute Charm can also be quite effective. For Sylveon, I would recommend giving it its Pixelate ability, which it'll turn all normal type moves into fairy type moves, and it'll also become even more powerful. I'll also recommend either giving it the Modest nature or the Bold nature. And also maybe give it the Leftovers. And then also EV train it in special attack, defense, and maybe in HP. For moves, I would recommend going with Hyper Voice, Calm Mind, Psyshock, and Reflect. That is a pretty diverse move. And it'll also help out for the rest of your team members, mainly with Reflect, so that way all physical moves will be cut in half. At number 6, we have Mimikyu. From one OP fairy type to another, Mimikyu, despite its looks, is extremely powerful. Like, it's in the OU tier, which is the highest tier that isn't banned. Like, I don't know how you can defeat this thing without losing at least one Pokemon. This thing will annihilate you the minute it gets on the field. Its stats aren't really much to sneeze at. Hold on, I can't remember it by heart, I'm sorry. A 105 special defense, 90 E6 speed, and 90 attack power. That's not exactly much to sneeze at. However, with the right item ability, the right item EV training, and the right moveset, and even with the right item, you can kill people with this thing. Like, fun fact for you, this is actually the first Pokemon I ever made competitively, and it helped me quite a lot through the battle tree. When it comes to an item, literally anything is good. A Life Orb, the Ghost CMZ, or a Lunberry, or even better yet, the Mimikyu Z, which will turn its Play Rough move into an OP Z move called Let's Snuggle Forever. I know it's not the most original name in the world, but despite that, it is extremely deadly. All Mimikyu will come with the Disguise ability, which for one turn only can actually take an attack without taking any damage. But once the Disguise is down, you are free open for attacks. Unless you use a Rampardos with its Mold Breaker, or any Pokemon with Mold Breaker for that fact, which will literally ignore our Disguise and kill you straight away, because Mimikyu's defenses aren't great. Once you get your hands on Mimikyu, EV train it and max it out with attack, speed, and maybe a little bit in its special defense. And I would recommend giving it the Lunberry or maybe the Mimikyu Z. And also, maybe for its nature, either Adamant or Jolly. And give it the moves Swords Dance, Shadow Sneak, Play Rough, and Shadow Claw. Now, this thing is so powerful, you will not see what is coming. At number 5, we have Volcarona. This thing is the definition of OP. I'm pretty sure that it doesn't, no other Pokemon has the typing of Fire and Bug apart from Volcarona. And it shouldn't be handed out to any other Pokemon, because this thing is original, and it will kill you without even batting an eyelash. With a 130 E5 special attack stat, 105 special defense, and 100 speed, this thing will annihilate you before you even come up with a plan. Like, this is just an OP Pokemon. It deserves to be in this top 10. It definitely also deserves to be in the OU tier. And I just think this thing is just godly. Like, if you look at this thing, you will see how powerful and how godly it looks. A godly Pokemon definitely deserves a godly base stat. Like, here is what I've got for Volcarona. There are many different ways to actually use Volcarona, but here is one that I've actually come up with. I recommend and give it the Bugnian Z. Like, that way it'll power up its Bug Buzz. And also, I'll give it the Timid Nature to up its already OP speed. And then EV train it and max out its speed, special attack, and maybe a little bit in its special defense. And I definitely think you should give it the moves Quiver Dance, Fiery Dance, Bug Buzz, and Giga Drain. So that way it can dish out some really cool attacks and also have a chance to raise its stats and also have a move to cover all of its weaknesses. At number 4, we have Gliscor. Talking of a Pokemon with an awesome design, here's Gliscor. Like, this thing looks like it will easily rip you to shreds and eat your intestines for lunch. Because it will. This thing is in the highest tier possible as well. That's not banned. OU. And this thing looks like it can actually kill you. These stats are unbelievable. Like, let me read them out. 125 defense, as well as 95 attack and speed. this thing can easily be an amazing wall breaker. Like, I absolutely adore Gliscor. It's also my second favourite Sinnoh Pokemon, just behind Infernape. Or is it my third? I remember how... It's been a while since I've made my top 10 and Gen 4 Pokemon. But still, this thing will easily kill you before you even come up with a plan. If you want an OP Gliscor, I recommend giving it its hidden ability in Poison Heal, which, if you didn't know, instead of doing damage every turn, it actually heals Gliscor every turn. So that way, it can actually save you HP in the long run. And also, I'd recommend giving it the Toxic Orb, so that way you can easily use one Swords Dance, and then it will easily become badly poisoned. For EV training, I would recommend maxing out its attack, its speed, and a little bit in defense, and then either get the Adamant or Jolly Nature, so that way you can either have a speedy Gliscor or a more offensive Gliscor. When it comes to moveset, it's easily got to be Swords Dance, Earthquake, Facade, and Roost. I have used this Gliscor in the battle tree, along with a couple of my other Pokemon. I believe I used an Aegislash as well as a Charizard. But still, this thing can kill you. It has saved my backside in so many battles, I can't even name them all. At number 3, we have Greninja. I know Greninja may not look intimidating, but with an OP special attack and speed, a very wide move pool, and so much unpredictability, this thing could easily be your Swiss Army knife. It can even be OP with its Torrent ability, but if you want to make it even more OP, you can make it a physically offensive protein ability, special offensive protein ability, a supporter, Ash Greninja. There's so many options, I can't even name them all. When it comes to my personal favourite way of using Greninja, it's no contest. It has to be Ash Greninja. This thing is so powerful, it's pretty much on the same level as some of the legendary Pokémon. Ash Greninja is mainly used for special, but it can be a special attacker, but it's not really there to be a war. When it comes to Ash Greninja's moveset, there's no contest. Life Orb, Modest Nature, max it out with special attack and speed, and maybe a little bit in either of the defenses, or maybe a little bit in HP. Then give it Hydro Pump, Water Shuriken, Ice Beam, and Dark Pulse. This is the OP Greninja of all OP Greninjas. This Greninja is actually my favourite Greninja, and I've also used this exact same format of this Greninja in my Ultra Sun playthrough. I've also put it on my OP Teen, and it is extremely powerful. Barely anybody has managed to survive an attack off my Greninja, and it's also managed to take down an entire team of Rayquaza, one of which was a Mega, and this thing is just ridiculously OP. Speaking of ridiculously OP, number 2 is Aegislash. If you see this thing when battling someone, give up while you still have a chance. This thing can either be an amazing wall or an all-out attacking force with its stance change ability, which allows it to change its stance and change its stats. When it's in its one of its modes, it can be OP in both its defenses, but when it changes into its other stance, it will be OP in both of its attack stats, but its speed stat will always stay the same as well as its HP. There are many different ways to use an Aegislash, but the way I use one is to make it an all-out attacking force. You should definitely give it an Adamant nature, and also have it hold the Life Orb, since that way it'll just be ridiculously OP. And then I would recommend AV training it in attack, defense, and maybe a little bit in HP, since its HP stat is crap. When it comes to a moveset, it's pretty easy. All you need to do is give it King Shield, Swords Dance, Shadow Sneak, and Sacred Sword. That way, it will easily knock out every Pokemon on the field. This thing is extremely OP. Barely any Pokemon could easily overtake its rule. However, in my opinion, there is one Pokemon that just narrowly takes the #1 spot. Finally, at #1, we have Garchomp. Do you remember earlier when I said Greninja is basically a Swiss Army knife? Well, Garchomp is a Swiss Army knife on steroids. Like, the difference between Aegislash and Garchomp is basically Goku and Vegeta. What's actually really funny is that regular Garchomp, with its rough skin and life orb, is stronger than its Mega, which is pretty ridiculous, but I can understand why. It's got OP attack power, pretty good defense and speed, and respectable HP. Like, special attack and special defense aren't really much to sneeze at, but still, Garchomp is ridiculously overpowered as hell. With Garchomp's extremely wide move pool, it can easily be an all-out attacker, a tank, or better yet, you can even be a Mega Wall Breaker if you feel like it. I wouldn't recommend making it a Mega. Like, it's still a pretty good Wall Breaker on its own. When it comes to creating a competitive Garchomp, it's a pretty easy answer. All you need to do is give it its hidden ability Rough Skin. That way it will cause damage to any Pokemon that attack it physically, along with either a Rocky Helmet or a Life Orb. And then give it either the Adamant or Jolly Nature, max out in attack, and its speed, and its a little bit in defense, and then give it Dragon Claw, Sword Stance, Earthquake, and Iron Head. This will be the OP Garchomp of OP Garchomps. Fun fact, I've used this Garchomp in the battle tree, and I have wrecked the crap out of everybody in the battle tree. And this is why Garchomp is easily #1. And there you have it, guys. This is, in my opinion, my top 10 strongest Pokemon. I definitely think that, I don't think this top 10 could be beaten, but if you want to make a top 10 about it, let me know down in the comment section below, or better yet, make a video about it on your channel, send me the link, and I'll watch it. If you want me to give you some competitive battling advice in the future, let me know down in the comment section below, and I'll definitely make a video about it, because I definitely really like talking about competitive Pokemon, and I think I make a better competitive Pokemon than Smogon do. If you enjoyed this video as much as I did, be sure to give it a massive thumbs up, comment down below, share this video with a friend, and if you're new, subscribe to my channel to be an Inferno today. Okay, that's all from me, so until the next time, this is Infernape, signing off. Bye!